G'day and welcome to Cuba to Rio. I'm Matt Scollay, and this is a podcast about the 2 fabulous weeks that we just had in the Galapagos. And at the top there was a Galapagos tortoise rejecting my interview. So yeah, as you can tell, we just came across absolutely everything on the Galapagos Islands. It was so much fun. They are a diverse and interesting place to travel, and the whole time I was traveling with my girlfriend Chloe, which made the trip even better. So this week, yeah, we'll kick it off in the island of Santa Cruz, and then we go from there to Isabel, followed by San Cristobal. And that was our Galapagos trip entirely. So sorry about the wait, but the internet in the Galapagos was absolutely atrocious, and I've been occupied with other things throughout Quito and now in Cuenca. So yeah, I'll catch you at the end. Flying into the Galapagos is the most surprising thing, because you look down when you're coming in on that plane and the ocean is just as blue as anything, but once you get over land, it is like a combination of Central Australia and Mexico. Like, there's cactus absolutely everywhere. It's completely blew my mind. We did not expect that to be the case when we got here, and so you step out and it's red lava dirt everywhere, and it's just cactus, like about 2-3 meters tall. Some of them are very like strong, trunky looking central columns, and then loads of these huge spiny leaves. And the first few days here, you got to cross from Seymour Air Base, which is an old US military base from World War II. It's been converted into the tourist airport. And in addition to the surprise of the cactus and the aridness of the Galapagos, they take your passports hostage and make you pay $100 US just to get on the island, in addition to the $20 US fee to get into the national parks here. That latter one is worth it, but by God, the $100 was a shock to the system. And the main town of Puerto Ayora, which is the largest population hub here on the Galapagos, is a bustling little place, just full of tourists, full of hotels, and full of little surprises, like these seals that hang out at the fish markets the whole time. And after this, you'll hear me being attacked by one of the pelicans that was guarding the fish, and the thousands of ladies with fly swats protecting them. We have found the craziest fish market, complete with pelicans. Whoa! And seals. There's seals around the women, and there's huge fishes here. There's one that's about 1.20 meters long, and then all these kinds of varieties, and this seal just hanging around hoping for snacks. It's incredible. In one frame there is everything the Galapagos offers. Birds, there's an iguana chilling by the flagpole over there, and there's just lazy seals lying around. It's absolutely marvellous. Again, diving on the Galapagos, and this is what everyone raves about. There's amazing sights all around the Galapagos, but once you're under the water, the surprising thing due to the current is that it's cold. Like, you're in full 5.4 millimeter neoprene and you're still cold under there. And the visibility on the Galapagos is the worst of any of the dive sites that I've been to. The Caribbean really, yeah, it was a great place to start diving. Just like 30-40 meters. That's the norm. No, it's not. Galapagos was about 10 meters at max, I reckon, and it was all green and murky. But swimming over lava rather than coral is a completely different experience, because there's rocks everywhere and they're just cascading down towards the sea floor that you can't see because it's murky. And there's all the same tropical fish, just in water that's about 8 degrees cooler. But we saw so many things while we were under here. There's white-tipped reef sharks that are about 2-3 meters long, just gliding past us. There was the currents around Mosquera and North Seymour Island where we dove were so strong these sharks could just hang on to the bottom and let the currents wash over their gills. And so they looked very similar to Port Jackson sharks. Sitting there in little caves, letting the currents feed their lungs. They don't have lungs, but whatever, you know what I'm talking about. And in addition to that, like, we saw hammerhead sharks very briefly, but they scooted past us. We saw huge schools of migratory fish just like glide past us. It was a wall. All our entire vision was just these speeding fish for a good 10 seconds. It was just incredible. That, and in addition to eagle rays, which are the type of ray that Nemo rides on, and we saw a group of about 5 of them just flying through this murky water. It was an absolutely magical pair of dives, and having Chloe there with me made it all the more better. It was so much fun. The Galapagos seem like desperate to impress you, and they pull out their best cards as quick as they can. And so there's seals at the fish market, and as soon as you get onto your first beach, there's iguanas just chilling in the sand. And the iguanas here, they're marine iguanas, so they go underwater. We saw a couple of them swimming. It's the most odd thing to see. But we saw a couple of them swimming, and they come up onto the sand, and they sit there, and they just squirt water from their nose. And they've got these glands in their nose that can process the salt that they're taking in while feeding on the green algae here, and then they just squirt it all over themselves. So they've got these crusty looking sort of helmets on their heads that are just crystallized salt that's been shot out their nose and has just formed on their foreheads. They're the most languid, glorious creatures. You can get so close to them as well, and they just do not care. It's absolutely amazing. Isabella doesn't waste any time in providing. As soon as you arrive, there's seals playing in the very same dock that you arrive on. They've managed to take over an entire dock here that's fallen by the wayside. It is a bit rotted out, but they're still taking care of all the seats and everything that there's available. And they're just everywhere. There's iguanas. It's so wild as soon as you arrive. And in addition to that, loads of fees. So many fees.
Can you move your foot for the podcast?
We're on the road to the Wall of Tears, Muro de las Lágrimas, about 5 k's out from Puerto Villamil, here on Isabel. And we have found our first wild tortoise. It is a very small, about 1 meter across little girl, and she's very pretty. Her shell has got these most fabulous patterns on it, and she's very shy, so she hasn't made a lot of noise for the podcast for us. But oh my god, there's another one over there. There's 2. There's tortoises everywhere. This one is making noise, so let's see if we can actually record it. He was casually snacking on some cactus, and now he's moving away from us. So many things. We've done all of them. Cuba de Rio's gone all David Attenborough on your ass. It's crazy. Despite the happy singing of the birds, we're in quite a dark place. And I had no idea about this. It's just another one of those Galapagos surprises. But this is part of a massive 6 meter high wall. It's about 4 meters thick, and San Isabella was used as a penal colony. But when you think of penal colonies, you think of England and the late 17th century and Australia and all that. But this one was between 1946 and 1959. So very curious as to know what happened here, because it was used to hold political prisoners and a bunch of criminals as well. And this is called the Wall of Tears because this is this huge structure about 30 meters long and as high as I've said before. It was built by these political prisoners on this rather hot and arid island. So, yeah, not an original idea by the Ecuadorians, sending the prisoners to a hot and arid island, but certainly very curious to know the numbers of people that were living here and what they did to get here. So even after a cursory look over the first results on Google, there's not a lot of information still about who was held in this prison and how many were around. And so there's a BBC article on the topic, and it cites a number of less than 100 prisoners there after 1950. That's in the middle of the prison's operation at that time. And the only other piece of interesting information I found out about it was the prison closed in 1959 after a mass escape from the prison because of the prisoners protesting against the harsh conditions, poor health and treatment they received there. And they took an American sailboat and held hostages, and that is the incident that precipitated the closure of the prison as a whole. But yeah, it's another case of the Galapagos Islands using old US military infrastructure for basically their own purposes. And yeah, that's all I could find on the Wall of Tears. That is not bad plumbing. That is the sound of the tide trickling into a lava tunnel that has met the sea. We're in the Túnel del Estrella, wasn't it? Yeah. And it's a collapsed lava tunnel that you can walk into, and it's just awesome. There is a plain of lava that we're standing on now that reaches back towards where the volcanoes are in the middle of the island. And then on the roof, it's all these amazing, tiny little stalagmites where the lava has rushed past it, but bits of it has stuck onto the roof and congealed. And so you can see that there's been liquid rock flowing through this very tunnel that we're standing in now. It is fantastic. Loving it. We're at the tortoise breeding centre here on Isabella, and of the 11 species of giant tortoise still remaining in the world, 5 of them are here on Isabella. And the reason why there's a breeding centre here is because Isabella is famous because it had a massive problem with feral goats and pigs. And there is a spectacular episode of Radiolab in which you can understand the huge efforts they went to eradicate the goats from this island. It's just brilliant. It's the Galapagos episode of Radiolab. It's so worthwhile. But yeah, they have had to bring the tortoise populations back from the brink after the goats basically overtook this island. And they've been running this centre since 1998. And it's doing pretty well. There's a 90% success rate here of the tortoises raised and bred here versus the 1% in the wild. And there's a couple of facts about tortoises and their mating habits, and males have concave shells so that they can get up on top and everything. The females lay between 4 and 16 eggs every litter. Not too sure about that. But the little baby tortoises here are so cute. They are no bigger than your fist, the ones that are a year old. And then they are so slow at growing. The ones that look like your normal sort of garden ornament tortoise, they're probably about 4 or 5 years old. They're about that size. And then it takes them maybe 25 years, according to this graph here, to reach beach ball size in terms of the diameter of their shell. They are very slow creatures to grow. So I estimate the ones that we found in the wild today were probably about 50, 60 years old because they were large, even middle-sized. So yeah, a pretty amazing program here, and definitely check out that episode of Radiolab. It's just it's my favourite. We're on Volcan Sierra Negra, and it is the second largest caldera in the world. It's 11 kilometers north to south by 7 kilometers east to west. It's absolutely enormous. And the reason why there's volcanoes here on the Galapagos is because these are a volcanic archipelago, and they're there because it's a volcanic hotspot very similar to the one underneath Hawaii. But the Galapagos Islands are on the Nazca Plate in rather than the Pacific like Hawaii is. And yeah, Volcan Sierra Negra last erupted in 2005, and these are all shield volcanoes here on Isabella, and that means my co-host is frustrating this podcasting attempt. But yeah, these are all shield volcanoes on Isabella, and there's about 4 big ones, the tallest being 1,707 meters in the north there, and that's the highest point on the entire Galapagos Islands. But yeah, what that means is basically they filled up, and then the top of the volcano has collapsed inwards on itself, producing these huge bowl shapes. And yeah, because they're on a hot spot, it's that flowing lava that you get in Hawaii as well. So not the explosive sort of eruptions you find on subduction zones like in South America and the like. And so this volcano is surrounded by huge lava fields of just rippled stone. It is the most beautiful thing to see, and awesome to clad your house in. I wish that I had a garden path made out of this stuff. It's just gorgeous to look at. But yeah, sadly, it's an entirely cloudy and rainy day, and so we have not seen much but the very bottom of the caldera, where you can see the most recent lava flow. But yeah, we managed to leech onto the side of a tour group as well, because there's guides only up here, because it is indeed an active volcano. The way you move between the islands here in the Galapagos is in these tiny vessels that could double as dive boats, fishing vessels, and in this case a ferry for some 24 people on a boat that's got a capacity of 22. And so Chloe and I have landed the seats behind the captain about 4 meters above the ocean in this rather rickety and bumpy ride. There's about 2 hours between all the islands, and Santa Clara acts as the hub to every single one. So we're headed back there now to find our islands for next week. We've come across a huge group of sea lions, and there's an adolescent one here that's trying to suckle on mum and is annoying everyone with the huge amount of noise he's making, and I hope we can get that suckling sound on tape, because it's so cute. It's like a little and all the other seals are just hating him. They're all trying to sleep here in the shade under a big tree. We're in San Cristobal's Center of Interpretation, and it is a fabulous museum all about the Galapagos and its history, and basically starts with the geological formation of the Galapagos, which sits on the Nazca Plate. This is a huge tectonic plate which basically consists of about a sixth of the Pacific Ocean, and is moving westward towards the South American continent, causing the uplift that is the Andes. And it's moving westward at a rate of 1.5 meters every 50 years. And so that explains why the old islands, like this one we're on now, San Cristobal in the far east, are 3 million years old, whereas Isabel and Fernandina, the most active volcano on the Galapagos in the far west, are about 700,000 years old. And yeah, it's just brilliant. It explains why the life got here and how it got here. And it's basically covers everything from the currents. There's 3 currents affecting it. The Panama from the north, the Humboldt from the south, which carries a lot of nutrients and cold water to the Galapagos Islands. And then there's the equatorial current that runs around the world, which I've completely forgotten what it's called. The Cromwell. And effectively, these 3 currents balance out the sort of meteorological effects that the Galapagos experience. And so during a time of El Nino, the Panama Current is a lot stronger and brings warmer waters down from the northern Pacific. And what this does basically causes havoc in the ecosystems here in the Galapagos. It causes there to be more rain, which excites all the cactus, and they grow too fast and get top heavy and fall over, and that causes a collapse in the food chain here on land. And then in the oceans, the ocean temperature's warmer, so all the pelagic fish piss off to colder places down south. And that in turn causes a large scarcity in the marine ecosystems here as well. And so basically El Nino is not a good thing to occur for the Galapagos. And in the case of increasing climate change, that's going to be an effect that's felt more and more severely here in the Galapagos, and will really test the strength of the species that are found here. But it also goes on to discuss the discovery of the Galapagos by man. And it was basically an accident in which some Spanish that were investigating the Incan Empire at the time, they had crossed the isthmus up there in Panama after establishing a couple of towns and things in Colombia, like Cartagena in 1533. And this guy called Thomas de Belanga, he was a fray, was headed down towards Lima there to investigate the Incan Empire. He got caught in some lull winds and was dragged here by the Panama Current south to the Galapagos, and discovered it in 1535, so 2 years after the foundation of Cartagena there in the north of Colombia. So yeah, it's a brilliant museum. It covers Darwin's 25 days here, and basically he just explored San Cristobal, where we are now, first, before heading round to Isabel and then shooting off north. So he really didn't hang around the Galapagos as much longer than we did, but they still claim it's the single point of inspiration for old Darwin there. But he was working on other stuff when he came up with a theory of evolution, but this did help kick it along, and he did recognise the huge numbers of endemic species that were here. And there is the famous example of the one species of finch that came to the Galapagos and then has converted itself through process of evolution into 13 separate species. And he, of course, helped categorise their different beak shapes and feathers and all that sort of thing. So yeah, it's an absolutely excellent museum, well worth checking out, and it's entirely free as well.
That is not your average splashing. We came down to the... can't believe I'm standing above this. Came down to Las Tijeras, which is this fantastic snorkeling spot. Best visibility we've seen the entire time. And I went out and we were swimming with seals. There was this lovely little bubby seal that would, when you did a somersault, it would do a somersault. When you blew bubbles, it blew bubbles. And then Chloe got cold, so we came back. And I went back out because there were two seals playing just like they are now right beneath me. But when I got out to take photos of them, turns out they're fucking hard. And they're still at it about 10 minutes afterwards, so, and right near me. So you can get the hot seal action. The hilarious thing now is that there's a baby that's about 80 centimeters long, and it's in the action as well, ruining it for the adults. Chloe and I are clambering over lava flow after visiting Pto Baquerizo Moreno, which is about 4 km north of the port of the same name.
and it was the craziest place because we swam with like 5 turtles at once. One point there was 4 in our field of vision all at the same time. It was just insane, and I've never seen that many turtles in one place. It was just so crazy, and I just had to pull out the mic at this point to mention that. And g'day. And record Chloe's shoes making awesome noises as they unstuck from the lava flows. But yeah, now we're in the semi-arid zone, which is all of this island of San Cristobal, because it's so old. It's all been eroded away, and it's only sort of semi-Pacific desert cactuses, slow grasses, and not much else. Chloe and I came down to La Loberia, which is 2.5 k's out of town here on San Cristobal, and it's basically a beach covered in seals. And so I went out for a swim, and I was playing with these 2 baby seals before Mum came and distracted them with milk and the like. And it was so much fun. They're just flipping all over you, brushing up against you, just adorable. And then I was swamped by scientists who came out looking for turtles. And I spotted 2 turtles in the bay here at La Loberia, and they were out there grabbing them and then hauling them ashore, basically surfing the turtle in. And this is a recording of the measurements of a huge tortoise that was 75 centimeters long. It weighed 56 kilograms, and its body temperature was 21.6 degrees Celsius. It was a massive male, and they stuck the thermometer up its bottom, which was about 2/3 down its tail. The male turtles have these massive tails, and that's how you distinguish them from the females. And they also pulled up a female at the same time, but this guy was just huge. So yeah, he was the more exciting of the 2 to record. So it turns out, after talking to these scientists, that they're looking for the presence of a substance called lactin in the sea turtle's blood. And what that is an indicator of is the amount of calcium in the turtle's blood system. And that in turn is an indicator of the diet that the turtle's been having, whether it's plant-based or otherwise. And they're hoping to get a data set. They've been going for 3 years so far. They're hoping to get a data set that stretches over an El Nino, La Nina period, to see whether the scarcity that is produced by the El Nino here in the Galapagos waters it affects the turtle's diet, and whether that can be expanded over multiple climate change scenarios. So it's thoroughly interesting work that they're doing, and yeah, they're all having fun while doing it too. Snorkeling around Kika Rock, also known as the Sleeping Lion in Spanish, León Dormido, is one of the best things we've done in the entire Galapagos. It's this island about $90 off San Cristobal, and that's way shorter than you'd think, but it's made entirely of volcanic ash, and it's compacted volcanic ash, and it's in the shape of this lying lion or seal, or who knows what it is. But it's amazing because this volcanic ash is so easily eroded that it's got these huge canyons just straight through the middle of the rock. 2 of them. The first one is about 12 meters wide and about 20 meters deep, and you've got divers beneath you, eagle rays, sharks, pufferfish, absolutely everything behind you. And then when you go around the side, you've got this drop just down to 100 meters, and you can't see the bottom. You can just see this rock sort of sliding into the ocean beneath you. Amazing. So many turtles, you got bored of the bloody things. And then there was this other little crack. That was this crevice about 7 meters long, and the waves just shot through this. And I had fun in there because there were some seals just having a ball in the current. And I spent about 10 minutes, 15 minutes with these guys. It was a family, mum and two baby seals, and they were pretty big baby seals, but I just had an absolute ball. And we were just playing in the current, surfing the waves. It was the best. Now, I originally intended to do 2 episodes for the Galapagos, but it turns out when you travel with a listener, you don't record enough content to do that. And so instead, we've got the 1. And I was going to have 2 episodes, but with tiny little bits of information at the front of them. But Chloe and I waited a long time, 3 hours, in the front of the Galapagos Institute of Science, waiting to do an interview with one of the turtle experts that we met on the beach, but they never came back from the field. So, very disappointingly, we don't have a scientific interview with an actual Galapagos science, but I've got the absolute next best thing, a marine biologist, so I'll let her introduce herself, because this is my fabulous travel companion for the next few weeks.
My name is Chloe. I'm from France, and some knows me as Clarita.
So this is a good one, because this is the first time I've actually ever had someone that listens to the podcast.
Yeah, I was listening to all of them.
Yeah.
So I can say that I'm like your 6th French on the podcast. Something like that. So not that new.
Not that new at all, no. But what's it been like listening to the podcast? Has it, I don't know.
It's been like like I've been waiting for them every week, and now it's really weird to be part of it.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, you've seen some of the creative process that goes into putting these episodes together.
Yeah, no, I'm quite like sad to not have a cocktail right now. I'm disappointed with that.
Yeah. But, I don't know, we just spent 2 weeks in the Galapagos. What was it like flying out here, and why did you come to South America in the first place?
Why did I come? To see you.
Yep, thank you.
And what it was like. It was long, my flight was late. Nice to fly over, I can say, 2 oceans, like the Atlantic to come here, and then the Pacific to there, like this.
Yeah, and so flying out of Quito into the Galapagos, what was that like first impression of seeing those islands like?
Oh, that was so exciting. Like to see something you always see, like on TV, on programs and stuff.
Yeah, I must admit I had seen them on TV and everything, but obviously had forgotten the entire program, because it was so surprising when we arrived. Just like cactuses and desert, effectively. Bizarre.
So bizarre. And so many cactuses.
Yeah.
So dry. But we saw that it was getting better by the end.
Yeah, there's a lot of variability between all the different environments and what they have in them. So give us an idea of Santa Clara, what that first island we were on. No, Santa Cruz. I got it confused throughout the whole podcast, so that's not the first time.
Santa Clara doesn't exist.
Yeah, it does in Cuba, and it's stuck in my mind. But Santa Cruz, what was that like?
Santa Cruz, wait. It was the first one we went to. I don't know. We went diving on that one. It was nice. We saw our first turtles there.
We did. We went to the Charles Darwin Research Center.
That was so cool. Yeah, first lizard. They were so cool.
Is that the marine iguanas that we spotted?
They were so funny.
Yeah. But what's like the feeling on the island?
The first
like?
seal.
The first seal?
Yeah, at the market, the fish market.
Oh, of course, I'd completely forgotten about that. So we got a little bit of that in the recording, but what on earth was that scene like?
Oh, and you almost getting beaten by that bird.
By the pelican? God, yeah. No, we've got that recorded too.
What did you do for a podcast? Beaten by bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the feeling was, I don't know, we understood that nothing would be cheap.
And were we right?
And that everything was like all the same prices everywhere. Like, that was the thing that was the weirdest thing.
Yeah, and I didn't really get to capture that So given a couple of examples of what sort of things were fixed.
Like the snorkeling too, or even the hostels, they were all the same prices.
Yeah, like $15 a night per person. That was the cheapest you'd ever find.
And they knew they would like have people to pay that price, so they wouldn't like need to bargain on that.
Yeah, we were pretty tracked as well. But wandering around those islands, like, I don't know, we got to catch up for the first time properly in 6 months. Like, was it a good place to do that?
I know, wait. I'm not sure I want to say that on podcast. What is the... Yeah, I was expecting like more beaches, like some more like tropical places, and like most of the beaches were not that nice. Like,
no.
We got one beach with like white sand and stuff. We tried the first one.
Yeah. We got chased off that by a lifeguard. Not allowed to swim there.
Yeah. But yeah, all the others were, and like the water didn't have like that much visibility, and yeah, not that paradisiac.
Yeah. So on Santa Cruz, you did your first dive in the ocean. Yes. What was that? How'd you go on that?
I didn't went that well because I had troubles to get down, but in the end it was so cool. We saw our first sharks. You saw the hammerhead. I didn't.
You needed to be able to equalize your ears quickly and get to the bottom before the hammerheads all disappeared.
We saw our first turtle there. Yeah, so
that was awesome.
And the little fishies like that, so they can't see that.
Yeah, and what I love is how they didn't really care about your dive qualifications. Like, we just said, yeah, we both got them, which we both do, but they didn't ask for any like proof of that.
Just give the money.
Just yeah, thank you. We'll take that.
And yeah, it was fine. And they were that Italian couple that we saw so many times after. I guess, the thing that is weird on the Galapagos is that you always see the same people. Like, every day you spot someone you've already seen before.
That's like, exactly right. Yeah, there's like
a
fixed number of tourists on the island.
So I think like everyone stays almost the same amount of time there, and yeah, goes to the same places. So.
Yeah.
Because there's not that much you can do actually.
And so we moved after Santa Cruz to Isabela. Like, did you know much difference between the islands? What was the comparison between the two?
Isabela was much more like remote. There were like less streets and stuff. Just one big street that we walked too many times. Super long.
Chloe got blisters on her feet because I made her walk so much around Isabela.
And yeah, much more remote. And like, yeah, our hostel was like so far away, but it was nice.
Yeah. And like, what's the food been like? We've tried some local dishes, and
we haven't tried that much. We tried the fish. It was so good. The huge fish.
Where did we eat those?
At the kioskers.
At the kioskers. And what was that like?
That was a street with all those tiny restaurants, and like they were like selling their stuff in the street. So you had all the tables in the middle of the street. You couldn't tell like which tables belongs to which restaurant. And yeah, a lot of fish smoke. Like they were smelling so good in the street.
What was the fish like? I don't even remember the kind of fish we had.
Oh, that's a weird name. It was a red fish, red and white. Like that big. That
big, for those that are listening, is about a foot and a bit.
I don't know what's a foot. I wouldn't say a foot. I would say 30 centimeters.
Which is a foot. Yeah. And so on... what was the wildlife like on Isabela? Because I thought it was absolutely awesome. Yeah.
No, sea lions, we must say.
Yeah.
And iguanas again. Birds. Oh, that's where we do our kayaks thing.
We did a kayak tour.
Penguins, turtles again, which I couldn't swim with because of you. What have you seen? Blue-footed boobies.
Yeah, which is the classic Galapagos bird, those fishing
we saw
birds.
all of them. And
You've got the main one. We were wandering all the way to the Wall of Tears where you got your blisters.
the tortoises.
And we ran into our first tortoises. Was like...
The funniest was you interviewing the tortoises. So funny. They were not making any sound. And you were like...
Yeah, they were terrible interviewees, the tortoises. You'd point the microphone at them and I would have been there for like, I don't know, 3 minutes and they wouldn't have moved. They were just in their shells, just go away. Please stop being around me. And you're in cactuses and all these things, getting hurt by the trees around you. Yeah, it was really crazy. And we first encountered the garua, that cold drizzle on Isabella as well. We went up to the volcano.
Oh, true.
Have you found being cheapskates?
Being what?
Cheapskates and not paying for anything when we should.
That was cool. And yeah, they didn't want us to do it alone, so
Yeah,
we didn't do it alone. We tried.
we tried. We tried to sneak off into the bushes, but they caught us in the act, and so instead we just pretended we were with other tourists.
But we met some nice guys there. A bit weird, but nice.
Yeah, no, because this is your first time backpacking. So what's it been like meeting all these people from around the world?
Oh, that's always funny. Yeah, but I got the feeling they're always coming from the same place. Like Americans, German, and French.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah.
And have you got a favourite people at the moment? Or...
The Brits were nice.
Yeah.
And
Because they're about to leave the EU, they had to be nice to you. They were like, "Hey, please, can we come over and get jobs in your country before we leave? Bye." Yeah.
Yeah, no. But we haven't met that many people, though. I think.
No, it's interesting because when you're traveling, like as we are, as like two people, you're self-contained. You don't have to approach people in bars or boats or wherever to have a conversation. That you just...
Oh, Jimmy was fun. So you like him?
Yeah, he was a cool guy. He's one of those people that has a very similar plan to where we're going, which is into Peru. So we might encounter Jimmy later on in the trip. But he was this cool American guy that we met on our snorkel boat. And then we were at San Cristobal for so many nights compared to everywhere else. Like,
it was the most like the biggest city in the Galapagos, I feel.
it was the second biggest after Santa Cruz. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't feel like it. Yeah, went to that market all the time.
Yeah. So did you get a sense of like establishing ourselves?
Kind of, but not that much. We were moving, like doing all this stuff all the time. And yeah, well, we spent a day on the boat too, so yeah, we had our rituals there, like the sunset, our bench.
Our bench.
Nights after nights. Yeah, it was fun.
No, it was so much. It was lovely
And
because
then there's still a place that we went every day there.
nearly every day. Cause,
Every day.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. Regardless,
made
the
us-
seals were fantastic, and swimming with them was just so much fun. Yeah. I'm hopefully going to split the audio from some of the GoPro pictures that we took because you can hear me underwater just like talking to the seals, trying to keep them interested in me. Yeah, they were fantastic. And I don't know, we've moved on to the mainland now into Ecuador. So like, what's the huge difference between the Galapagos and here?
No beaches. No. We can't go to the sea and swim anymore. So that's the main difference, which is simple.
Yeah, true.
And yeah, I don't know. We're in big cities now. I don't know what I rather like. Like I'm keen to go to Peru and go through some remote places.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think I'm more a nature person than a city person. Like,
Yeah.
I also like to discover some, I don't know, some jungles, some forests, some beaches. Then
Yeah.
some
So why
cities.
is that? Because people listening don't have any clue who you are. But
Oh.
what sort of background in nature do you have?
I'm studying it. So I'm studying biology, marine biology. So yeah, I'm liking that.
You liking that? So what sort of experience do you have in studying marine biology?
What do you have in mind? I'm doing a master there on that, and yeah, so I did an internship in Sydney where I met you. So on oysters, and what other stuff can I say? I don't know.
Did you have you been able to apply any of the stuff that you've learned at university to what we saw in the Galapagos?
Kind of like, I don't know, there's a stupid thing that I got in mind is that like the fishes we saw like in a little pool where had red eyes, and I learned that it was to protect them from the sun. And yeah, that's the thing that
Things like that.
struck me.
I remember you talking to me at some point about how the model that the Galapagos have chosen is pretty much straight out of one of the textbooks that you read from, with like the fishermen working in
True, the fishermen stopping working in fishery but instead of working in church stuff. Yeah, that's a thing that happened like in countries that are developing, and that is quite bad for them because like they become dependent of foreigners and stuff. And if they all stop, they won't have their own food, so they will be dependent of like the sheep and stuff.
Yeah. Did you see a lot of that relationship between the two when we were there?
We saw that guy. That was a guide. And
Oscar. Yeah.
Yeah, Oscar. And that before was a fisherman. So yeah, we saw that. And like that Oscar. Yeah, the kayak guy, but
Yeah.
also the guy on the volcano.
Oh,
was
true.
a
Yeah, the
fisherman.
tour guide on the volcano was a fisherman.
Yeah.
Then. Yeah.
So two of them. And he said that a lot of fishermen were actually doing tours like diving and stuff.
Yeah.
Instead
So
of
do you
fishing.
think the Galapagos had a good balance between their primary industries and tourism?
No clue, but like, yeah. I mean, they're also like in a marine park, so they can like having less fishery is also a good thing, like to protect the environment and stuff. But I don't have the feeling that they would like destroy their environment by fishing like for themselves.
Yeah.
The bad thing would be like they would fish for like the tourists and stuff and starting to like do some big fisheries and
Overexploit.
yeah.
Because that was an incredible thing that you can't capture on a podcast. Sorry about that. But like the size of the fish and the
Huge.
yeah, absolutely enormous, and the plentifulness of the marine life once you got in the water was just over the top.
Yeah. And I mean, they're in a marine park. They should be. Like, it would have been sad. And yeah. And I think they've been protected like ever since they discovered them, like almost. So there hasn't been that phase where like I believe, like I'm not sure what I'm saying, but where like they destroyed everything and then trying to get them back.
Recovery, yeah.
So I think they're just like doing it well since the beginning.
Yeah, I think the Galapagos' remoteness has really helped them in that
Yeah.
sense, because they, like, all the towns that are up in the hills are called El Progreso, like progress, because that's like the first time that they've
Yeah.
managed to establish a...
But the thing is, it's really different from like the land animals, like with the tortoises and stuff that were really exploded, like
Yeah.
the
for tortoise oil and
Yes.
for the
So
water
I think
bladders and
there's a
stuff.
really difference between them. We can say that the Galapagos are an example of environmental stuff, like, because they destroyed the tortoises, so yeah.
They did, but they're back.
Yeah, they're trying to.
I mean, we saw heaps. They just sort of wandered out of the forest to meet us when.
True.
Yeah. But I think that is certainly the case. Especially with regards to it's been so long since I recorded anything on the Galapagos, but it's just coming back to me that they had the turtle breeding center and everything in order to establish what they had lost of the land biodiversity, whereas the oceans is still incredible. I don't know, can we finish on that boat ride we had between Isabella and...
When we were on top.
Yep, go for it. Explain it from the beginning.
So we went on that boat that was like crowded. We were all like packed in the bottom of the boat. And the guy asked, there's 2 seats on the top. Who wants to go there? He has for like fit people. We were like, yeah, us. He was like, yeah, go for it. So we went there, climbed there, like not knowing what was going on, and found that seat just behind the captain. So we were both of us, and yeah. So not packed at all, like with the wind and stuff.
Spread out.
Yeah. And so it was like around, I think 4 in the afternoon or something like that. So the sun was setting, so we saw the sunset at the end. And before that, we saw dolphins jumping so high and doing like. And then I saw a whale.
Yeah, I saw it
They told me it
disappearing
was
under the
a
water.
fish. That was a whale. It was so cool. My first whale. And
First jumping dolphins as well.
as well. And then we saw 2 albatrosses that the guy told us. But then
Yeah.
he told us also that it was rare to see them. Oh, he also told us that we could only see whales in September. Not true.
Not true. July as well. They're just hanging around the Galapagos.
And yeah, that was so cool.
That was an absolute... We've been blessed by luck the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Actually, totally... I've never travelled with someone for more than like 2 weeks. So what am I like to travel with? I know it's an odd question, but no one has the perspective
I
you
still have
have.
a month to do with you. I can't tell anything back.
Yeah. You can. I'll deal with it.
No, that's fun with me. I got nothing to. I mean, seeing you recording weird stuff is fun.
Weird stuff from
Like
what?
turtle tortoises. And just in weird position, like. Yeah.
Oh, recording the podcast in
Yeah.
weird positions. Oh yeah, no. This is why I love the format, because I have to do all this crazy shit to get one noise, and no one knows about it. And
And I have to say that I'm the backup plan, like, because we should have an interview of someone in the science center. I'm just
you never
the
would.
backup plan.
No, you wouldn't be the backup plan. You're traveling with me for a month and a half. You're definitely coming on the podcast at some stage. But no, we did wait some 3 hours outside the Galapagos Science Institute.
People don't know what you're doing.
Waiting
there.
for an interview, and the interviewee never came back from the field. So, yeah, we got screwed by that one.
And we saw a baby seal instead.
I know.
So
The Galapagos
close.
trade-off. No interview with an actual trained Galapagos scientist. Baby seal. It worked out in the end.
Yeah.
And I think that's been the case for almost everything in the last 2 weeks. Like,
Yeah.
food, transport.
Food.
Alright, go on about food then.
Oh, we've eaten. Like, I was not in the Galapagos, but today is such a good example. We've been eating all days that breakfast. No, we before had breakfast in the room with bananas and Nutella.
Delicious.
And then we had a second breakfast. Well, I must say, like 5 breakfasts at the market, which was huge.
So we had
Ceviches, pork with like potatoes and a huge plate, and then tortillas with tortillas de
chocolate. Yeah,
and cheese.
Yeah.
And then that weird stuff that
Tamal, which I am a little disappointed you didn't like tamal because they are everywhere in South America. They're like sort of corn mass wrapped and boiled in a banana leaf, and they've got they're the same everywhere. They're awesome. And then after that, what we have?
pineapple juice.
Yeah.
And then we bought like lunch.
Our days rotate around meals, basically. Like, the fact that we've been near markets for the last couple of cities has been brilliant because we just spend a lot of time there planning dinner.
So we bought so many stuff that we haven't eaten already. But we bought also like bread with cheese in it that we ate like an hour after.
Yeah.
And then we bought pan de yuca.
Yeah,
Finally.
I'm loving it, like, giving you the opportunity to eat all these exotic fruits and foods and everything. That's what it's all about. Yeah.
And then we had not that much exotic food. We tried a donut for you and a cookie for me.
Yeah, that's pretty exotic.
At least mine, I had like Ecuadorian chocolate in it.
Yeah, true. My donut was just, a donut. But anyway, alright, Chloe, that's all we've got. And then, we're done. So thanks for coming on the podcast. And I'm sure we'll check in with you sometime in Peru.
Yay.
And that's it for another week. Coming up next week, we hit mainland Ecuador, and it's going to be a mix of stuff I've recorded before in Quito, and it's the cities edition, this one, because we go to Quito and then the third biggest city of Ecuador, Cuenca, which are just delightful places, because I know I've been very slack in putting these podcast episodes up. So it's been weeks, guys, but we're back on track now, and I'm looking forward to getting it up. So make sure you check out the photos on the Facebook page, because there's some real crackers for the Galapagos, and I'm putting together a video of the GoPro footage that Chloe and I shot as well, so that's on the way. So stick to the Facebook page, and make sure you like and leave a review on iTunes, because that really helps us out. Anyway, we're back, guys. Thanks very much. Bye.